Hello, everybody, and how are you doing on this glorious October 16th? I hope everyone is staying warm because we're starting to feel the fall chill settle into the land. So yeah, Emma, how have you been staying cozy indoors?
It is very gray here today in Seattle, which is it's nice. It's funny here. Everyone here moving to Seattle, for the most part, we're all vampires or something. Because everyone I talk to is like, I kind of like it. First, it was a little gloomy, but now I'm super into it. So we just all like the rain. We like a few months of sun and then just cozy. Wrap yourself up with a blanket. But anyways, what I've been up to lately is Javion, who's been on this show a few times, one of our TableTakes hosts, introduced me to this game on Steam called Shapez.io with a Z, SHAPEZ.io, which is a factory game, and it's fun. Because he showed it to me. He's like, "You're gonna get so addicted to this." And then we played it where he was kind of teaching me and watching my screen share. And he's like, and I didn't say anything. He's like, "Are you enjoying it? Do you actually like this game?" I'm like, "Shh, no, I'm doing the things. Shh, go away."
I gotta put the
Oh
shit.
gosh. Yeah, because it's you just have this big screen. And it's kind of like Factorio, but Factorio is a little weird because you have enemies and things attacking you, which I don't like. This one is just very meditative. At first, it's like, here's a circle, make a conveyor belt so the circle goes to the hub. And you're like, okay, I can do this.
Oh, okay.
Like, dye the circle purple. So, okay, now I need to set up a dyer to like dye it. And then you put in like a purple circle. But very quickly, it's very slow. So instead of just making one dyer, you need to make this whole array of like, okay, I need these conveyor belts and then the tunnels and then connect everything together and then refunnel everything into one thing in the hub. So like 2 hours later, you've made a green star that goes into the hub. So it takes a lot of time. And you're sitting there just like clicking on these little things, and it's very easy because you're just like, oh, now I cut it in half, right? But it's very involved, and it can take up a lot of your time. So that's mostly what I've been doing. Also prepping for Aw Shucks, which is the digital version of Shucks, the Shut Up and Sit Down show. Usually this time of year, I would be in Vancouver hanging out with cool people. Sadly, that's not the case, but I'm doing some events digitally this weekend, so it's going to be fun.
Nice.
It's nice. Yeah. It is what we have to deal with in this pandemic going on. But at least, especially during the spooky Halloween season, we have lots of things to help us keep us occupied while inside. Yeah, Isabel, how have you been keeping occupied inside?
It's the spooky season. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Spooks.
Oh my goodness. never ever let me sing ever again. So it's Halloween season. This is my favorite season. I have my Junji Ito Tome shirt.
Yes,
everybody. And I've been doing a lot of spooky stuff. I watched a show on Netflix called The Haunting of Bly Manor. I watched that like all in like 2 days. It was sad. The show is sad. It's a very sad ghost story. Yeah, it was really one of the things that I really like about the show is that they have ghosts that are throughout the scenes. So it'll be like two characters talking, and then what you don't really notice first up, you just sort of watch it again and again, is that there'll be like ghosts. There's a ghost in the corner. There's a ghost under the table. It's very creepy when you are like watching a scene with two people and they're like having this like beautiful heartfelt moment, and then you realize like, oh my god, there is a dude standing in the shadows right over there.
I don't like that.
And he's been watching them the whole time, and it's very creepy. That's my favorite part of the entire show. And there's a character named Owen, and I have a crush on him, and he has a fantastic mustache. And other than that, I have a show called Nocturnal Emissions, which is a live show where we screen a horror movie once a month, and that's coming up on Halloween night. And we're going to be showing the Vincent Price classic House on Haunted Hill. And so I'll be dressed up all spooky, and then we'll be presenting that. And I'm really excited about that. The tickets are on sale now. So if you go to Northwest Film Forum, you can buy tickets and hang out with me at Halloween night and dress up, put on a costume and hang out with me. And let's watch this spooky movie. And also I've been playing this game called Phasmophobia with my friend.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it's a co-op game online where you play a group of ghost hunters and you're trying to solve a ghost. It's kind of the same thing as like I just escaped me, but it's a co-op thing. You're all online and you're all trying to it's kind of like what's the name of it? Oh my god, no, it's the game and you're all trying to Dead Before Daylight?
Oh, Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. All right.
And so it's like that, but like it's a lot of fun because your friends just keep dying and you're trying to like bust this ghost. But my friends are not good at it, so it's
nice.
Really funny. So that's what I've been doing. A lot of spooky stuff because it's the spooky season. Hanging up Christmas, hanging up Halloween decorations, and carving pumpkins. I just got a pumpkin yesterday, so I'm going to carve it this weekend. Very excited.
Ooh, very nice. I think for myself, I've just been like, I got sucked into this this book series called Spells, Swords, and Stealth. And it's supposed to be from the NPC view of like old school kind of games. Like what if like kind of like the reboot, like remember the cartoon Reboot? Where like computer people are alive.
I love Reboot.
Yeah. So instead, it's the NPCs are alive, and it's basically a story following these NPCs that try to pretend to be players.
Okay.
So nice. That's why they're like, don't know why this happens all the time to these group of people, and they don't really seem connected to our world. So let's just, to save our own kind of thing. So it's a fun little series, and if you guys like it, it's by Drew Haynes, I think. Yeah, that's how you pronounce the name. So I've just been, diving into those books then. But yes. So nice. Yes, speaking of things that you can dive into and get into, let's go ahead and start into that news today. We got up. So 'tis the season for murder, mayhem, and destruction. Isabella, do you want to tell us about it?
That was a great segue. The Hunt a Killer murder mystery scenario comes to US retail. Do you like crime? Do you like solving crime? Now's your opportunity to be able to solve a crime through the Hunt a Killer. If you're not familiar with the Hunt a Killer series of games, basically what it is that you get a little box in the mail. I believe that you can subscribe to it so you can get it once a month. And you get different clues and different kinds of things like that. And you have to sort of figure out who was the killer in the game. It's kind of like you're playing your own version of Clue. Bonza had a great idea, which is that that you should dress up. You should only play the game if you're in costume.
Yeah. I don't even understand the reasoning why you wouldn't play it not in costume. I don't understand.
Obviously.
And this has been really popular with the true crime crowd for a really long time. Like if you listen to any sort of true crime podcast, like I do, I have like 40 podcasts that I listen to. And this is like it's a more interactive kind of get your hands in to solve this kind of murder mystery. And it looks like they're going to retail. I think this makes a lot of sense because the true crime genre has really become very popular. There's been a lot of really great documentaries. I also this past week watched I fell down a true crime documentary wormhole and stuff like that, which we won't even get into. But I think that has become a whole genre of people that are really into that kind of a thing. And so this makes a lot of sense to me. I like this because you get like sometimes you get like little things like, oh, a feather. this is involved with the crime. Here's a little poker chip. How was this involved in the crime? Like you get this little tactile little clues that you use in order to be like, I think it was Mrs. Manton, the librarian. She's got murder in her eyes. I think she did it for the insurance money. And it's fun. It's a fun little thing, but they like, it's also like kind of strange that people are like, I'm tired of these real murders. I want a fake murder.
I love what you said before the show, Isabella. You're like, if you can't get enough of murders and you need more murders, here, we made more murders for you.
Have you ever been like, I haven't had enough murder in my life?
You get a murder. You get a murder. Everyone gets a murder. Yay.
So that's what these are. These are fake murders. I remember when I got my first one and I was like, oh my God, is this a real murder? Please don't make me solve a real actual murder. And I was very stressed out. Until I found out that it was a fake murder. They're all fake murders, by the way. And so,
yeah.
So what does that retail for?
That retails for $29.99. It plays for 45 to 60 minutes. Which can probably go longer if you wanted to. For 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up. I would highly recommend it be 14 and up because it does involve murder. I don't know if I can say that enough.
Murder, but yes. No, so let's go ahead and look forward to that. On other board game news to look forward to, I don't know if you guys noticed, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, always a true classic when it comes to us and the gaming community, just because, you know, vampires are cool, especially a cheerleader vampire who like punches all the boys in the faces. So if you guys were a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and also Mondo, they basically revealed a miniature dueling game that's coming out. Mondo Games announced that Buffy the Vampire Slayer is joining their Unmatched universe with Unmatched Buffy the Vampire Slayer coming this late October. It includes 4 minis, which is Buffy, Angel, Spike, and Xander. So you can mix and match with other sets, as well as 25 action cards, 4 character cards, 8 health dials, and 4 sidekick tokens and double-sided tokens. I will be honest, I've never played Unmatched. Have any of you two played Unmatched before? Do you know? Can you fill me in on this?
Yeah, I played a fair amount of the game. It's cool in that it's a very tight, very compact 2-player tactics combat game. So you have your board, instead of having a whole grid like some games have, you basically have tracks and you have different regions / zones that have different effects. So it's not a deck builder, but it has a deck element to it. So you're drawing hands of cards and they let you do stuff like defend against attacks or do special attacks. And you can use some of the cards to power up other cards. And the characters are all very different. So you might be just your character, Medusa, going around or whatever, or you could have a whole fleet of sidekicks. You have like mini characters that go around with you, or it looks like a lot of these characters have their sidekicks. So you're playing, you have your sidekick, you can do the ability. It's just a very fresh tactics game where you can easily move around the board. You can do pretty much all of what you want to get accomplished, and it plays pretty fast. It's pretty easy to learn too, so definitely a cool system for a game. And then they just have so many different characters, from obviously the Buffy characters to I think Robin Hood was one of the characters, Alice in Wonderland. I'm forgetting exactly all of them, but they have a very wide variety of different things you can play together, and you can play on the different maps. So it's this like interesting mishmash of characters that's really cool and really fun.
All right. Well, yeah,
awesome.
No, thank you for giving me that like sum up of it. So that is what they did. Mondo reveals. Go ahead. So you guys can go ahead and look forward to that coming later on. And as we get closer to the end of October, we'll probably fill in with more details with that. Now, I don't know if you guys heard the news. It's very surprising news. We can all say it at once if anybody wants to say. Unfortunately, for those who were excited, about a certain convention happening. It is not happening, which is the
LA
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con. There we go. We did it.
Yeah,
we nailed it.
We nailed it. Totally nailed it. So this is just like, it made news headlines. Like we've even talked about it here on the stream of like, during this pandemic, where a lot of us, like even Gen Con, has gone digital in order to protect people, and also in another way, reach fans from across the world to all participate in one event. LA Comic Con was like, no, we're gonna still have it on, despite all of the rest of the state of California saying no.
The illegality of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, it is. Yeah. Go ahead, Isabella.
I don't know. Like I said earlier, like, wow, shocked Pikachu face. Can't believe that they're doing this. Like, this is inevitable, right? Like it's not really that shocking. I don't know why they were anticipating on having a convention in this year. It's not. I don't know. To me, it just felt like this was inevitable, that they were going to cancel it. I wish that they had canceled it sooner. I understand that there might be some sort of reasons with their insurance that they might not have been able to cancel it sooner. But at the same time, like, now is not the right time for any convention to be happening. And just thinking about all the people who booked flights, who booked hotels, who took time off of work, who maybe, had to get babysitters for their kids or something like that. Like, I don't know. That to me, I feel a type of way about the fact that they held off for so long. They had to have known that they were not going to do this convention. They had to.
Yeah. And exactly like you said, Isabella, everybody putting the plans into it. And you could say, I would say anyone who's planning on going to a convention right now, don't do that. But there is something to be said for if, people, there's a lot of information out there, a lot of misinformation, and people kind of rely on organizations to be part of their information for better or worse. And if someone is saying like, hey, we're going to do this event, it's going to be safe, some people might see that and say, well, they're saying it's safe. They wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't safe. So it can actually affect people's psychology, even if they would normally be more cautious to say like, well, they're doing this. I want to do something so bad. It's going to be safe. It's going to be okay. So yeah, exactly. Like it's up to organizations to, I know they have to survive. I know they have to make money, but also protect people. If you bring a lot of people together and people die from it, then that's not going to be great for business, right? So you just, you got to be smarter about these things.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, like, as was mentioned in the chat, I know that there's no replicating waiting 36 hours in line in a hot, smelly room with other people, or also returning home and feeling like the living dead for the entire week that you've come back from the convention. And like I mentioned earlier, I normally get sick from a convention on a regular non-pandemic year.
Yeah.
So the idea of coming back, it would have been a super spreader event. It for sure would have been a super, and the fact that it takes place like a week or two before the holidays, that would have been even worse for LA County. So this, to me, I'm glad that they canceled it. I am, like, I for people that spend money on it, I'm sorry that if you lost any money, I'm sorry if you lost time. But really, this was truly for the best. It was a good decision.
It was a good decision.
Like you said, con crud, it just has all of the perfect factors. It's like you're in spaces, close quarters, you're not eating properly, people aren't bathing, they're not sleeping. Just like everything, everyone touching everything, the air, like it's like an airplane, and the travel to and from, it's just well, perfect storm. But at least, hey, breathe a sigh of relief. They canceled, and we'll have to just see more in this digital sphere. Just be patient. Cons are going to come back. We just have to wait until after we get this sorted out first. So be patient is all we ask for people.
And it looks like they're going to plan it for 2021. It looks like they've scheduled it for September 24th through the 26th. So, maybe you can we can all put positive vibes into 2021.
2021.
Well, before we go on with further news, we did want to talk about something that's happening later on in the show. Announce that to make sure people stick around.
Oh yeah, for those who are wondering, so we are gonna have a special guest later on today here. Hey, if you guys ever played Frostpunk, the game, which is a basically a post-apocalyptic, like ice freezing managed service management game, it's going to be turned into a board game, and we got exclusive exclusive one-on-one with one of the creators, Jakub, or no, I'm sorry, I'm the worst at name. Kuba, sorry, Kuba Wisniewski. Sorry, you guys know I am the worst at names. I am sorry. Why do I always introduce the names?
Yeah,
I always take the names. I don't know why. But yes, Kuba is gonna be coming over here, and it's gonna be awesome. So stick around after the Kickstarters for that. And now the real news that everyone wants to hear, that Twitter's gone insane for. So let's see. Let's go ahead and say, Emma, can you name that Pokemon?
Gotta catch them all, and by all we mean Charizard, and by catch them we mean spend $220,000 for a holographic Pokemon card printed in 1999.
Yep.
Wild. This is the record. $220,142. Make sure you get those $42 in there.
Yep.
For this shiny Charizard. This makes me so depressed. Do you understand how many Pokemon cards I had? Do you understand how many shiny Pokemon cards I had in 1999? The idea of this hurts my spirit. Hurts my spirit.
All of us were like, I collected that. I had that. I had a Mew. Can you imagine?
But that's why they're so expensive, right? Because everyone had them and they don't have them anymore.
Nah, yeah.
We were fools. We were small, tiny fools.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't understand what we had.
Or trade away. You're like, oh, I like the Pikachu better. I'm going to trade my super fancy shiny card for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a competitive Pokemon player when I was a kid. And then I retired at the old age of 13. And gave all of my cards. I gave all of my cards away. I had this massive binder that I had like them all like sorted and everything like that. And I was like a old timey movie. I was like, here you go, kid. And I just like walked out.
When you were 13.
When I was 13. And then I walked out into the cornfield.
Like your hat on, ride a horse.
Yeah, I was like, it's up to you now, kid. And I just drove away on my horse. This makes me so bummed. I'm so stressed out. There's so many things, like, I don't know if you guys ever do this, but like sometimes I look up old things that I used to own just to see like if I could buy them back again, to find out. Like I had an entire collector's set of all the original Sailor Moon art books. Like the first print Japanese Sailor Moon art books, and those things are now like $800 a pop for each book, you know? And sometimes I just lay in bed and I just gently weep. It's tears.
I can't get it back.
But also, this story that's also makes this story even wilder is who bought the Pokemon card.
Who?
Logic the rapper bought this Pokemon card. Logic, which you might know for his raps and his rhymes, of which I can't name a single song by Logic. No shade. Hope he's not watching this. But he entered into retirement earlier this year at the ripe old age of 30 and is now into an exclusive deal with Twitch. So he is now officially on Twitch, retained by them, I guess, which means that he cannot stream on any other platform. I don't know what he actually does on Twitch besides twitching.
Well, but I mean, there's a music category here on Twitch, so he could probably do live spinning. And
No, but
live,
he's
you know.
retired. He
Oh, but I
doesn't
mean,
do
you
it
could still
anymore.
hobby
For fun, yeah.
for funsies. But I mean, like, well, at least for my idea for this is like, are we seeing cards like, you know how Magic definitely Magic trade, like Magic the card game can get higher up in prices, right? So now but with that we're seeing Pokemon cards. What, like, do you think Pokemon cards are going to start like soon getting into that like realm of Magic, you know, in terms of commodity trading?
We're in it. It's here. We're in it right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure the most that the Black Lotus cards sold for, but I don't know if it was as much as this. What's weird though, I mean, is Logic playing with this card? Because the weird thing about Magic is people are very much definitely playing with those old cards because they're very powerful. But in Pokemon, my understanding is there's been a fair amount of power creep, and I'm not a professional player, so I can't speak to it specifically, but are people collecting old Pokemon cards more as collectors, or like with a lot of the Magic cards, people buy and sell and trade them for playing in tournaments, playing professionally even? So
well, we've seen what Logic is doing with his Pokemon card.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, if you
the baby
here,
nom 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 nom,
which is like, allowing his baby to chew on this book, not directly. His baby didn't put the card directly in the mouth,
but still from like a collector's perspective, you just bought this. This is college fun you're eating, child. That's college fun.
It was to me, it felt disrespectful. I don't know. That picture of his baby personally called me a poor person by chewing on this card and being like, this card costs more money than you'll ever see in your entire life. And I chew on it. Yeah. And I just feel personally offended by that.
He's like, this card costs more than you'll make in like 20 years of your working career. I chew on that.
Seriously. I don't think that people are playing with these cards. I think that people are collecting them to be like, I have this, because I think that Pokemon, maybe, I don't know if this is maybe a spicy statement, but I feel like Pokemon has much more name recognition than Magic cards, you know, where people like know a Charizard, a shiny Charizard, you know, versus a Magic card that's like more kind of like, oh, you have to play Magic to understand how important this game is, or how important this card is.
Yeah.
But like to say, like, I have an original 1999 shiny Charizard from the top three, you know, Bulbasaur, Charizard, and Squirtle. You know, to say that you have that, to me, people are like, okay, flex on me. I'm poor.
Well, I mean, because you've all the Pokemon video games, all of the like the card game itself, the TV shows,
the movies,
like Detective, like everyone saw. I went and saw that. Like I've played a fair amount of Pokemon, not the most out of anyone, but you know, it's just like people are seeing these things. It's just in the world now.
No, that was just what I wanted to go ahead and talk about, just because it is like as like us as table, like, you know, players, people who play games, especially play card games, just taking note what comes up in price, what seems to like blow out of the water. And it's just quite interesting to see like things that we played with as kids. I mean, of course, just
and if you're in the chat right now and you have any of these shiny Pokemon cards, just drop your address and your work schedule down in the chat. And just like, I don't know, leave your windows open. I don't know why.
Nothing suspicious here. No. You got to be careful because they can take you to court. What I mean by Kickstarter court, if you are not careful with that. But yes, those were our headlines. And now, because we want to go ahead and get to the nitty gritty of all the things, Kickstarter court is now in session. I call Emma. Emma, please present us with our first Kickstarter of this day.
All right, up first we have Crash Octopus, ending Tuesday, October 27th with 10 days left. This is another one. I feel a lot of the Kickstarters I pick are like, click on the link and look at this great picture that we're showing on the chat now, because it's a bunch of octopus pieces and debris pieces. It's got a crab in there. It's got a boat. You have your boats. And you can tell a lot about this game just by the components. It looks like a fun dexterity game, and that's exactly what it is. You're going to be flicking stuff. You're going to be doing a little bit of balancing. There's a dice in there. You're going to be positioning things and trying to screw other people over. There's a little bit of a programmatic movement. You can move the octopus around and move the tentacles around. You're trying to collect treasures and not be eaten by a giant octopus. So, I mean, the game is adorable. It was translated from the original Japanese version, Crash Octopus. The name is funny. Just so much to love about this game. It's 2 to 4 players and 20 minutes. If that sounds up your alley, then you should get it. Animal games are great. Octopus, the components of this one are adorable. So, I mean, that's about all I can say about that.
Cute.
Oh, very, very nice. You also have another. Oh, well, how many days are left? Sorry, I forgot.
10 days left.
10 days left.
Tuesday, October 27th.
Very, very, very nice.
I've backed so many Kickstarters lately. I'm just trying to oh gosh. And all my friends, literally all my friends have stuff up on Kickstarter right now. So it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, what's next, Emma, on your list?
Speaking of which, Cascadia with 5 days left, ending Wednesday, October 21st. So excited to have this game up on Kickstarter. It's by Flat Out Games, designed by my friend Randy Flynn. This is a game that I've got to play test back in the day when we were doing physical in-person play tests. It was a lot of fun, and it's only gotten better since when I first tested it out. Continually been developed. Amazing art by Beth Sobel, who is an amazing board game artist and also did the art for their game Calico. And it's just a fun tile placement game. One of the cool things about this is it's hex placing, but there's no set grid to it, so you can kind of build off in your own directions. And it's very easy to learn. You're taking a combination of a tile and an animal that would go into a habitat. So you're going to place the tile down, and then you get to place the animal anywhere in the tiles you've already placed. So it's got a little bit of back and forth where I only get points, or I get some points from where I place the animals, and I get some points based on the contiguous habitat tile. So it's like I got a big river section, so I'm going to get a lot of points from that. One of my favorite things about this game is they actually developed sample app. I think an important thing to note is this isn't the whole game. Some people have looked as what, this is the game. It's in this app. I can play it. It's a sample, so there's more to the game than that. But you can play it and learn the game. As soon as you start playing this app, you'll know exactly what the game is about. And it's super fun. It's a great window into it. So much of the time I see these Kickstarters and I have to kind of read a lot of the text and watch the videos, and I still don't know what they're about, but this one is just super cut and dry and straightforward for what the game is about. So very much recommend checking this out. 1 to 4 players, plays in 30 to 45 minutes. It's just got so much great stuff there, and it's a beautiful game.
It's the most Pacific Northwest looking game I've ever seen in my entire life.
It is so.
I mean, it's called Cascadia, right? Everyone's from the Pacific Northwest. It has all the creatures, and yeah, it embraces that with both hands.
So good. And yeah, it's very Northwest. If you could ever, we're in the Northwest, so we're like, yeah, that looks very much.
Yeah,
exactly.
I feel called out by this game.
Called out.
This game needs small
a coffee shop.
Coffee.
Yes.
And a channel.
They need
some Birkenstocks. Everyone's like,
too much. That is so bad. All right, Isabella, tell us about the next game. Oh man.
Well, since it is the spooky season, I'm bringing you some horror games that you can play. Sleep Tight with 4 days left is a fast-paced 10 to 20 minute action game based on the Sandman mythos. I'm sure that many of us were afraid of the boogeyman getting us when we were kids and snatching us whenever we put our little Piggly Wigglies dangling over the edge of the bed. I know for me personally, I was convinced that if I put my feet out from underneath the covers, that something was going to come up and snatch my feet and chow my feet off when I was a kid. And sometimes, even when I'm an adult, I sometimes think that I don't want to leave my bed because I think there's a shadow that looks like a scary person, but it's just a pile of dirty laundry. Anyway, this game is the whole formatting of it is that you are a kid who's trying to escape the Sandman. And what I really like about this is that you can help your fellow teammates to also escape from the Sandman, or you can trip up your fellow teammates and feed them to the Sandman so that you can escape, which is fun for the whole family, really. This game, I think, is a really good one for older kids. The recommended age is 14 plus, and I think that it's not, I think it would be a little bit maybe too scary. I don't know everybody's kids, but I think maybe it would be a little too scary for younger kids because it has to do with monsters. The graphics, the art, I really, really like. Very spooky, very creepy art. It reminds me kind of Tim Burton-y, but with more colors, I feel. But I feel like this would be a really good one if you had some older creepy kids who enjoy sabotaging each other. So yeah, that's Sleep Tight with 4 days left. The next one that I have is called 30 Seconds to Live. And this one is a game that has 4 days left also as well. A 1 to 2 player game where one player plays as the survivor. So zombie apocalypse game. One player plays as the survivor of the zombie apocalypse and the other player plays as the horde of zombies. I think this is a really kind of cool game. I was kind of hesitant on this one at first because of the fact that I'm sort of tired of the zombie genre. But I think this is a really cool game that you can play with a friend where you're both trying to outsmart each other. This idea of it being a one-on-one is a really cool idea. I think that if you're going to do something that is like a good spooky Halloween night kind of a game to do, this one is like you could really go really deep and really hard on this one. So that's 30 Seconds to Live with 4 days left. And then my final one, which is not a horror game, but I guess you could make it one with enough imagination, maybe. This one I really liked because I like Kickstarters that have games that are kind of like not a traditional board game or card game. And this one is a monthly envelope escape room, which I think is really interesting. This one's called Trapped in Time, and it has 3 days left. I really like the concept of this one, where you get an envelope in the mail and you have the clues and everything that's set to you, that's given to you every single month. And you have to sort of solve the mystery that's inside of the envelope. So you don't necessarily know what you're going to get, and it unfolds month by month. I think this is a really cool idea. It's like building an escape room, but the escape room is the escape room of your imagination. I think it's really cool to send a monthly game to have something that you get much like the To Catch a Killer or To Hunt a Killer game that we were talking about earlier. But this sort of like monthly installments is a really cool idea. It has web and mobile interaction. The Kickstarter itself is kind of a little, it doesn't really go into a lot of detail about what exactly you're getting inside of the game, which honestly, I kind of like the idea that you have no clue really what you're going to get. It also reminds me, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Polybulus.
Familiar.
Before. It's an urban legend about a game that you play that like sucks you in. So it's an urban
Jumanji.
legend. It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like there's an urban legend that there's an arcade game named Polybius, and that all the kids who play it have disappeared. And it's much like a Slender Man-y kind of a urban legend, and this game reminds me of that. So check this out for treats in the mail that you can solve and use your imagination to escape your imagination.
Oh, very, very cool. Well, that, folks, was our Kickstarters. We're going to just take a 5-minute break really, really quick because we have a special guest coming in. Kuba is coming in for Frostpunk, the board game. So if you guys want to go ahead and get excited about that, I don't know how many people in chat played it, but it's essentially, imagine the world has ended and you're stuck in ice and you got to figure out how to survive with your little group of people in there. And of course, we'll let them go ahead and explain that themselves when they come in to tell us more about it. But yes, just stick around. 5 minutes. We'll be really quick. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here, joined by Kuba, right here, joining us from Wrocław, Poland. If I'm correct, I'm sorry. I butcher names. I'm really trying.
It was close enough. Close enough.
Well, yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about Glass Cannon, and everything like that.
So first of all, pleasure to be here. So Glass Cannon Unplugged is actually my new venture. I'm Jakub Wisniewski. Some of you might remember my hairy face from the times when I was doing This War of Mine, the board game with Michał Oracz. And right now it's also flying all over the internet with me advertising our newest project, which is Frostpunk, the board game. What you see behind me isn't actually how Poland looks like, although many people think so. We did actually have first snow in the Polish mountains, so it is getting colder. So Glass Cannon Unplugged is my new venture, which is a small studio of veteran developers and people involved in the industry. And our mission, our goal is to adapt, is to translate handpicked IPs from the video gaming world into the tabletop. And we're beginning with this beautiful project of Frostpunk.
Oh yes, it's so beautiful. So if you're not familiar, the game Frostpunk is, of course, you are a small group of survivors trying to like survive a winter apocalypse, like during a worldwide volcanic winter sets in, and it's also not just in the future. It's an alternate history in the 19th century as well. So
it was a video game.
Yes, it's based on a video game. It's steampunkish. It's steampunkish with a little bit of cold.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny smidget.
I feel cold looking, just thinking about it and seeing this winter wonderland.
Well, speaking of the original, were you a fan of the original Frostpunk before you came on? And I wanted to ask a little bit of the questions about how do you adapt? Like, what are the kind of struggles or what was easy about adapting it from a video game to a tabletop game?
Okay, so obviously I was a huge fan, and it's the same with This War of Mine. I was a fan first, and then we kind of joined forces with 11-bit Studios team, creators of the original game. Same story here for Frostpunk. Obviously, we knew each other well, but this is something I really cherish about the guys from 11-bit Studios. They didn't simply give me the license. I had to take part in like a casting. We all had to prepare some concepts, some prototypes, and they chose the best. And it felt really good to be still on board with them. About the struggles. Um, I'm not a designer in terms of designing mechanics. I focus on the narrative aspect. I focus on the general theme of the game, the feeling of how heavy it influences the emotions. That's my little area of expertise. So for this War of Mine, I worked with a brilliant designer, Michał Oracz, and for this one, I teamed up with one of the hottest names in the industry right now, Adam Kwapiński, creator of Nemesis, the board game. And this is his mechanics, his design that we have in Frostpunk, the board game. Also helping is our in-house developer Rafał Pieczyński, and my beloved partner Michał Ozon, with whom I would be lost like a gorilla in a fog. And last but not least, we have our marketing wizard, David Tadel, who is solely responsible for you seeing the campaign on social media. So the difficulties we had, we worked for almost 1.5 years on the prototype. It had like I've seen like 8, maybe 10 versions. I think Adam did like 20.
Wow.
And the struggles were aplenty because in a computer game, basically a lot of stuff is done for you by the computer and you don't see it underneath the hood, sort of.
Yeah.
And in a board game, it's kind of harder to hide that. And we had to simplify certain aspects of the game, but do it without taking their meaning and the depth that they were adding to the game. So we particularly had a lot of problems with solving the issue of several aspects of hitting your city, because the whole thing about Frostpunk is that in the center of your city, you can see this here, is this huge generator tower, which is providing heat, pumping this as a life force, as a heart into the city. So you need to provide that heat distributed throughout the whole city. And to solve that, wow, we struggled, but we succeeded. And all of you can actually play the board game on Tabletop Simulator. It's free to play for all backers and non-backers. You can simply enter our campaign and subscribe to the Steam workshop mod for the game. See how we managed with solving the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a big thing for me, as being very immersed in the tabletop and the video game side. I just want to tell people, just put the game up there. If you don't, someone else is going to put it up there. And if like, it's not going to stop people from backing the game, because either they're not going to back it or they're going to back it.
Yeah.
Letting them see what it is as a real thing. And like, you don't want a bunch of people backing who aren't actually going to enjoy it. So it's so cool to see you put in so much effort for the fans.
Yeah, that was actually Rafał's, our developer's doing. He's a huge tabletop simulator geek, and he set it all up. And you know, it seems only honest that if you are not afraid of your design, not ashamed of it, of your game, you should put it out there, because as you said, Emma, with if somebody should back it, then they should actually see it, because then they receive the game, they thought it's something else, and they're disappointed.
Yeah.
And this is the worst case scenario for the creators and for the backers.
Yeah. So speaking of the digital and physical aspects, you're actually teasing 2 apps for the campaign, one for the board game itself and a more general one. Interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about those apps?
So I'll start with the general one. It's something that we will probably be speaking more about the beginning of next year. We, as a company, have been co-founded and kind of kickstarted into being by this Polish government agency for development of innovative technologies, and we came up with a design for an app that helps in onboarding for board games. It uses augmented reality, and we hope to have a beta version up and running the beginning of next year. And this app basically will solve two issues. First, it will help you to learn the rules, set up the game, and then it will completely shut out. You won't see it anymore, because for me personally, the app should only be present in the board game as long as it's needed. It shouldn't draw your attention from the board game, and this is something that we put very heavy focus with this. And it will help people who have like loads of board games and they revisit them after like a year or two and they forgot how it played. So those are the two main functionalities. The app is going to be free for the users and free for the publishers. So that's one thing, and it's going to be called Tabletop Tutor.
Oh, I like that. I really like that. That's a smart idea, because it's supposed to be, this is how you play it, one and done kind of thing. I like that. It's clean.
Yeah, gosh, there's like so many people trying to go in that space, and the name is often like, it's like, well, how is that even related? Like, I don't even know what this product is. Then that name is perfect. It's like, this is exactly what it is. And learning games is the biggest barrier to board games. I think if
exactly
solves that problem, you're going to have an order of magnitude more board gamers out there.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So coming back to Frostpunk itself, as I said before, it's not that I'm not a huge fan of apps for board games, which would sound silly coming from me. It's that I don't want to see them if I don't feel they're necessary and somehow adding to the whole experience. So some of you might be familiar with the most recent expansion by 11-bit Studios called On the Edge. And this expansion features a way for the settlements to communicate with each other. And this communication is taking place within the game's ecosystem. And this is like a single player game, so it's all scripted. So we talked with the guys from 11-bit Studios and we came up with this idea. Imagine this. Emma owns a copy of Frostpunk, Nocturnal owns one, and Banzai owns one.
Yes.
And you, hopefully, and you all agree to play the game. So even solo, you don't even have to be in the same location. You all set up your games and you synchronize clocks. We'll start around 8 p.m. And then you turn on the app. You actually send out an expedition to establish communication. You send out an in-game board game expedition with cards to establish communications with the other settlements. And once that's done, through this app, you can communicate, but not like we communicate on social media. You're also using pre-scripted messages within the game's ecosystem, but you decide what's happening. And this helps you exchange resources, but it also allows for us as designers to kind of smuggle in some stuff. Like imagine Banzai introducing a child labor law, and Emma Scouts discover that, and this causes a certain disturbance, a lack of understanding between those settlements.
Yeah,
and
Banzai.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps them build muscle.
So with how the game's mechanics is constructed, that each action has consequences, and we have this special deck called the Dusk deck that you sort of build throughout your gameplay by making various decisions that have consequences in form of cards connected with them, and they get shuffled into it. So this is the place where, for example, some additional cards could be added, or some kind of a pop-up message from the app. We think it's going to be an incredibly rewarding experience if you can enjoy your copy of the game with somebody else who's enjoying their copy of the game over a distance.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, I really like the idea of I like the idea of the general one, which kind of like helps to introduce people maybe who have never played tabletop games before. The idea that this is like a Polish government initiative also that kind of feeds into this, which
yeah,
go ahead.
it's actually this agency. It's part of the body of the European Union that helps startups and innovative solutions.
Cool.
Yeah, that's I wish we had something like that in America, where like, you know, we could start putting more of that kind of innovation into tabletopping and stuff like that. That seems like a really cool idea. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you is that now that Kickstarter has opened up to more Polish creators, I wanted to ask about your experience as being one of the first Polish creators, and like, what do you think is going to happen now that Kickstarter has opened up itself to more people from your side of the world?
We're going to swarm Kickstarter with kielbasa and pierogi.
It's a hostile takeover.
Oh,
I
gosh.
see.
I'm in for it. Yes. Please, yes, please.
That's a good one.
No, but for real, I'm actually extremely happy about that fact that Kickstarter recognized us as a country being worthy of being introduced into their ecosystem. Actually, a big shout out to Michael Liebe and the whole team of Kickstarter for organizing this whole Poland, Greece, and Slovenia entering their ecosystem, because that was like superbly organized, and we are just proud to be the speartip of this initiative. And actually, we have a plan. Since the campaign is going so well, we have already breached most of our stretch goals with the amazing support of our backers, and we want to introduce. I'm going to tease something that's going to be teased tomorrow in more detail. So we are introducing two add-ons into our campaign. Both are purely aesthetic, and both are created by real masters, real celebrities in terms of the artistic world. One is an illustrator, and the second one is a sculptor. Both are, I think, the most famous Polish artists of that given genre, and they have both agreed to create something totally unique for the campaign of Frostpunk. And if you're interested, then please follow our campaign, because we will be showing, we will be tormenting you with little details until we reveal the whole thing.
Just a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
No, that's good business. That's good business. You got to keep people coming back for more and more. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we have time for one more question.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to ask about the roles in Frostpunk, the board game. Specifically, this aspect of the game seems to be the subject of vivid debate on Board Game Geek. So I wanted to dive into that and see what we
Okay.
got with that.
So basically, Frostpunk in its digital version was a solo experience, and we wanted it to feel less lonely for a group of players. So this is why we divided the responsibility for governing the city, the settlement, into up to 4 roles. This helps with 2 things. First of all, it helps with the onboarding, because Frostpunk is a massive game, and it's not complicated in terms of the mechanics and lack of clarity. It's just vast, and to kind of comprehend it all at once is a challenge. This is why it's good to start by like a small piece of the cake, just to see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that I'm gonna tease. This has been asked a lot about by the community, because some of the backers felt that the roles are not distinguished enough, like not enough differences between them. So next week we're addressing that. We're lucky to have Adam Kwapinski on board, because he's a brilliant designer, and he came up with a solution that I think will make a lot of backers happy. And while working on this, he improved the system of dying in Frostpunk, which is typical for Adam. He's a very black sense of humor, and this is so Kwapinski move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the cool things about running a Kickstarter and being responsive to your backers as well, right? The fact that you can take feedback.
That's amazing. This is something for me personally. People were like saying, "Oh my gosh, you're going to have to be online 24 hours." Yes, the lack of sleep is terrible. Yes, the look on my wife's face when I enter home is terrible. And the most terrible thing is my daughter, who's missing contact with Papa. And I am trying to introduce child labor into our no, just kidding. So these things are harsh, but the ability to actually communicate with people who want your game and for whom you're actually doing it, it just cannot be valued enough. It's one of the best things that Kickstarter offers, and it's a hell of a ride.
Oh, but yeah, no, this is you can really tell that you put blood, sweat, and tears into this, and you're really passionate about it, and that is something that I love about it. And I hope that the audience as well can tell that you're just like, yes, this is a thing we've been working over like years.
It's a team effort. The whole team works really hard, and we hope it's visible.
Yeah. Well, Kuba, thank you so much for joining us. Is there any like last statements, of course, more teasers you want to put out before we go ahead and end the show?
Just, I think I've revealed enough. Really, thanks for having me. And what can I say? Stay frosty.
Stay frosty, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, that, my friends, folks, was, of course, Frostpunk, the board game, coming out by Glass Cannon Unplugged. If you guys want to see it, the links are in chat now. And for those who are wondering, we aren't just a Friday show here at Gen Con. We have a whole slew of shows if you want to go ahead and see them. We have Mondays, 6 p.m., board games with the Brothers Mirth. These are all Pacific times, by the way. Wednesday, 1:30 p.m., This Game Gets Dicey. And 4 p.m., Fireside Double Header. That's with Peter Atkinson, telling you all about that, just telling you all about the behind the scenes of role playing and getting things done. And hearing new voices along with that. Friday, of course, 2 p.m. here we have TableTakes, and at 3:30 p.m. info streams. Just you want information, we got it for you. So don't forget to follow, subscribe, turn on notifications, and if you miss a live show, don't worry, we'll be on in 24 hours later on. And thank you all for watching, and thank you again to Kuba for joining us and telling us about all the awesomeness that we are getting excited for. And of course, keep an eye on those Kickstarters. Thank you, of course, to Isabella and Emma as well for joining, and I hope you guys have a lovely day.
Bye, everybody. Wash your hands.